Every sales funnel explained in 19 minutes, coaching edition. This is exactly what we're going to be going through inside of this video. I've taken the best performing sales funnels, which are working right now in Q4 2025. And together, we're going to be figuring out exactly what sales funnel is going to work best for you based on your situation specifically. I'm going to be going over the sales funnels that work specifically well for guys starting out or with smaller audiences. We're going to be going over sales funnels that work for mid-sized creators, guys around 100K followers. And we're even going to be going over sales funnels that are working for guys which are big in the space and have super big audiences. So after every single funnel that we break down, I'm going to be ranking it on this tier list right here to figure out which sales funnels are the best. So let's dive straight into it. Now, the first funnel is going to be the DM me funnel. And this is popularized by Sam Millsap, but you're going to see tons and tons of people running this exact funnel right here. So let me actually just take out my marker so that I can show you guys. So what you're going to find very often on Instagram is people being like, DM me XYZ word. DM me, for example, one-on-one. Work with me, DM me one-on-one, right? Or in their description, you're going to be like, learn my drop shipping strategy, like whatever you want to say, and then DM me one-on-one to get in. Or in your Instagram reels, you're going to see these people at the end of the Instagram reels, they're going to be like, DM me scale to learn my coaching strategy. Or in the description, they're going to be like, comment free, and I'll send you XYZ thing for free, right? But essentially, guys who are just constantly telling you to DM them, they're not pushing any particular sales funnel, they're just always going straight into the DMs. And then, you're DMing them this thing, they're giving it to you. Let's say you DM them for a specific thing. They're first going to give you that resource. And then they're going to ask you, hey, like, why particularly were you interested in this thing specifically? And then once you tell them, or let's say you don't tell them, they're just going to keep following up with you because the DM conversation's already open. And if you don't tell them, and if you do tell them, obviously you already have the free resource and they're going to dive deeper into your pain points, figure out exactly where you are, and then they're going to pitch you on a call, which is going to be framed as a strategy call to help you out. In reality, though, this call is going to be a sales call where they're going to give you a little bit of value for 5 to 10 minutes. And after that, dive into your pain points and really sell you whatever they're selling, which is usually going to be their coaching program / info product, and obviously monetize off of you in that way. Now, the DM me funnel works extremely well for guys who are kind of just starting out. I wouldn't recommend this at scale just because it is easier to get distracted at scale. It's harder to keep the DM setters in place. However, when you're starting out, this can be a very good funnel, and especially up until 100K per month. If your audience is already kind of organic, I would recommend it. So I would put it between be ready to print and decent, why not test it? Just because the other funnels that we're going to be going through in this video, especially this second row, is even better than this. So let's keep going. Now, the next funnel, which is actually one of the funnels which you're going to be seeing get popularized everywhere right now, is the webinar funnel. Now, the webinar funnel is absolutely ripping right now, and there's a reason why so many people are implementing this. Now, the reason why this is working particularly well right now is, first off, ESL funnels, which we're going to be getting into in just a second here. Those are essentially the funnels where, you see the headline, they have the video, and they get you to book in a call, are getting saturated right now. Everybody's doing them, and people are sick of seeing them. Even the normal B2C or for customer, people buying drop shipping courses and SMMA courses or whatever it could be, they've seen that sales funnel a million times and they know that they're getting sold to you. However, with a webinar funnel, let's say particularly popularized by Shelby Sapp, who's done multiple millions using the strategy, is they sign up for a free training, live training, right? There's this first page, and it's like, I will reveal everything free. Just show up at Sunday at 9 p.m. or like whatever the time is. And you're giving them your details, right? You're giving them your email, phone number, and name, right? And then you're going to get sent to this confirmation page, which is pretty much like, congrats, you signed up. I'm going to give you all the information. They give you the times about when it's actually going to happen. And then you're just going to get a bunch of email reminders up until the event. And then on the event, they're going to give you a little bit of value, right? They're going to give you maybe 5 to 10 minutes of value, but it's not going to be anything that you couldn't have already found on YouTube. But most of it is going to be building up your emotions for 60 to 90 minutes. And at the end of it, pitching their product. They're essentially going to give you like a little bit of value, but throughout the webinar, they're going to be building up this pain point. They're going to be like, okay, you don't have this thing. They're going to keep saying 1 to 2 things that you're lacking right now. And at the end of the webinar, they're going to be like, obviously you're struggling with these things, building up all of that FOMO. You're kind of going to get a little bit stressed. You're going to be like, oh, what do? I don't know what to do. Da, 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 da. And then they're going to be like, don't worry, I have the solution for you, right? That's obviously when they get into their pitch. And at the end of that pitch, obviously they're going to sell you this thing. So usually webinars are done for higher ticket products. However, we have also seen them for mid-ticket products, let's say $997, but usually it's going to be a $3,000 to $4,000 mentorship. And then by the end of the pitch, they're going to send the payment link into the chat, which is going to be there throughout the entire webinar. And then inside of the chat, people are going to click on the payment link and pay. And then for the people who aren't ready yet or need a little bit more information about the product, they're going to get them to jump into a sales call to actually get more information about it. And some people only let other people jump into the sales call and don't even say the price on the webinar. It really just depends on how warm or cold the audience is going to be. And then obviously either from paying the payment link or jumping on a sales call, they're going to get monetized that way. Now, the webinar is working extremely well right now, especially with the trust recession, which is going on. So I would put this at 100K per month, ready to print between webinar funnels and challenge funnels. Challenge funnels are pretty much the same thing as the webinar funnel, except in a 3-day live event, which obviously gives you more time to build up that hype. However, challenge funnels require a lot more resources, time, and preparation. So if you're starting out or you're running this kind of funnel for the first time, I would recommend starting with a webinar funnel and then changing over to a challenge funnel once you've already done a few webinar funnels that have been successful. And for a webinar funnel, you are going to need a little bit of a larger audience. Let's say you're going to have at least 10,000 followers to get enough people to sign up. Typically, if less than 50 people are showing up to your webinar, you shouldn't really be doing a webinar. You need at least 50 to 100 people show up. And I would easily classify that, depending on how good your audience is, 200 to 300 signups, and you'll almost have that self guaranteed, unless your marketing isn't good at all, which we're also going to get into a little bit later in this video. So that's for the webinar, pretty standard. I would definitely recommend this if you have at least 10,000 followers. Prioritize this, test this out, but there are different options which you can use too, which we're going to get through later in this video. Now, the next funnel, the infamous VSL funnel, probably the most used sales funnel in, I guess, info marketing history. Pretty much every single person who's in info has tried this funnel at least once. You're going to see big people like Charlie Morgan running this, but every single person in the sales space has run this. Brez Scales, Iman Gaji, all of the big guys, they run this kind of funnel. And essentially what you're going to have is you're usually going to have long form content through YouTube. You're going to be posting YouTube content assets, and you're going to be pushing people to a video sales setter page. And essentially on the video sales setter page, there's just going to be a big headline, pretty much just telling them why they should watch the video. The headline's going to motivate them to click on the video. The video is typically going to be between 8 to 12 minutes long. And it's essentially just going to be a video explaining your mechanism, explaining why this is such a big opportunity inside of the market right now. Let's say, for example, let's just go back to Brez Scales, right? He has a freelance brand scaling offer. And essentially, it's freelance brand scaling is a glorified way of saying start your agency, right? So in the first, let's say 5 to 8 minutes, he's going to be explaining why starting an agency is so important, right? Why it's such a big opportunity inside of the market right now, and why if they don't do it, they're going to be missing out, essentially just building a bunch of FOMO. And then for the last part of the video, he's going to be throwing in a lot of case studies, a lot of proof, and essentially positioning himself as the person who can actually help them bridge that gap, start their agency, and start making XYZ per month, or get to whatever dream outcome which he's pitched them on inside of the video sales letter. And at the very end, they're going to be like, guys, just book a call with me. Not first link, but just book a call with me below. And then below the video sales letter, they're either going to have a type form, which at the end of the type form, they're going to be able to book a call through Calendly, or they're just directly going to have their Calendly down here where people can actually book a call and just get on a call with their sales team, and that way get monetized. So this is definitely the sales funnel that you want to be using if you're you can obviously run the sales funnel to millions per month, but especially if you're initially starting out and you don't want to have the infrastructure, you don't want to build all of this stuff up before you actually get the proof of concept and before you actually start getting views in your videos, or you just want something simple and lean if your audience is already pretty warm, I definitely recommend running the video sales letter funnel. But especially, like, the biggest thing here is, like, you don't want to mix this video sales letter funnel up, right? There's two different ways of running it. There's the video sales letter funnel and there's the squeeze funnel. Now, the video sales letter funnel, you can typically go directly to a video sales letter funnel if your audience is more rich, right? Like, there's different ways you can say it. There's a nice way to say it. There's a mean way to say it. But essentially, when you have an easier to sell to audience, people who are already super nurtured and just rich people, they don't have time to waste. They just want to buy your product directly. Usually, people are just going to do some B2B. However, if your audience is a little bit more hesitant, they usually need to think about it. There's all these objections which they're constantly getting, or they're constantly giving you inside of the sales course, or just typically just harder audiences to sell to. Let's say they want to learn how to start drop shipping, or they want to learn how to start an agency, just like super B2C offers. In these situations, you want to run a squeeze funnel. Now, here's the main difference between the video sales letter funnel and the squeeze funnel. With the video sales letter funnel, they directly land onto this video sales letter page. And at the end of the video sales letter, they make the decision if they want to book the call or not. However, the difference between this and the squeeze funnel is the squeeze funnel, before they even get to this page, there's an opt-in page. And on this opt-in page, it looks the exact same as the video sales letter page, right? They're going to think it's a normal video sales letter page. And then when they click on the video sales letter, what's going to happen is there's going to be a pop-up that's going to be like, get my free training. And the pop-up is going to ask for their name, email address, and phone number. And once they give that to the opt-in, they're going to be able to claim the video sales letter. So from here, they're going to go to the video sales letter page, obviously watch the video sales letter and go through the exact same flow as we've seen here. So essentially this part right here is the same as this part right here, and then obviously this part right here too. However, the biggest difference is going to be, once we have this information, we essentially have their email and we have their phone number. And this is great for us as marketers, because now we can add them into an email sequence. So let's just put ES, and this email sequence is slowly going to sell them over time. We're going to, for the first 10 to 14 days, send them daily emails, different Q&As, case studies, trying to follow up with them to actually get them to book the call if they didn't book the call after watching the video sales letter. And what we're also going to be able to do is we're going to hire somebody called a dialer, and this dialer is going to be inside of our CRM. And every single time a new person opts in and gives their phone number, he's going to instantly call them up and try to close them on the phone, because it's going to be easier to close somebody on the phone, explain them the same things as they would in the video sales letter than it would just be through the video sales letter. Because the video sales letter is obviously, you know, it's good and everything, but like they can click off at any moment. Their mom could text them, they go away, get distracted, forget about it. But with the dialer, they're on the phone. There's no going anywhere, and the dialer is going to instantly try and book them in into the sales calendar. So simple as that, not that overcomplicated. You don't want to overcomplicate this process at all. Now, you may be asking, like, okay, you know, all of this is cool, it's great, but why wouldn't I just always want to have the squeeze funnel? And, you know, it's the same as the video sales letter funnel. You know, it looks like there's more options. It looks like it's easier to sell people because you have these extra two aspects. Why wouldn't I just always have the squeeze funnel instead of the video sales letter funnel? Well, there's one main difference, and this main difference is going to be friction. Now, this is extremely important, and this is one of the main things that it comes down to when you're trying to sell people on these different offers, coaching offers, sales offers, info offers, whatever it is. It's always going to come down to friction. And the biggest thing here is people, the amount of people that jump into these two pages and watch the video sales letter is going to be different. Because if we have this page in between, some people are just going to be like, they're just going to click off. They're going to be like, I don't want to fill in my details. I want to do whatever. It's just going to be an extra layer of friction until they get here. So let's say if 100 people get onto this sales page, and, you know, depending on where your traffic is coming from and how strong your traffic is, let's say you have a 60% opt-in rate, right? And then from the 60% opt-in rate, you know, people are going to get onto the next sales page. And then out of the 60 people who are on the sales page, let's say, because they've already opted in, 80% of those 60 people watch the video. So that would be What would that be? 6 times 8, that'd be 48, if my math is correct. So 48 of these people would pretty much be watching the video sales letter out of the 60 people who actually got through, right? But then with this funnel right here, if 100 people jump onto the same landing page and we go the same math, actually, let's say it's slightly lower because they didn't obviously have to opt in. So the people who opt in are a little bit more bought in. But let's say 70% of the people who get onto this landing page versus the 80 here are going to watch the video sales letter, right? Let's say 70%. And then that would give us 70 people watching this video sales letter right here. And then on this video sales letter, it's going to be 48 people. So out of the same 100 people, 70 watch this one and 48 watch this one. Now, obviously, you're going to want more people to watch your video sales letter, but with a richer audience, they don't need somebody calling them up. They don't need all of those emails. They're ready, they're there, and they want to make a decision. They want to buy, they want to make money. And with these people right here, they're going to need a lot more convincing. So even though it's only 48 people, you're going to have a lot more angles and a lot easier ways to convince these 48 people to buy your product versus if you run this funnel where 70 people get on, but your conversion rate from the video sales letter isn't as high. And so it makes it a lot trickier. So hopefully that kind of makes sense for you guys. Again, like if you have any questions throughout any of this video, I have my Instagram link below. You can always go there and text me questions, whatever you need. But that's the main difference between these two funnels. So to kind of break it down again, if you have a richer audience, you're selling B2B or just a more sophisticated audience, you want to go straight to video sales letter. And then if you have a little bit of a less sophisticated audience, you're selling a B2C offer, how to start and make money online, whatever it could be, you want to be using the squeeze funnel, right? Now let's actually rank these offers right here. With a video sales letter funnel, if your offer is good, if you have an easy to sell to audience, this is the offer that's been working forever, right? I can't really put it into a bad tier. If your audience is good, it's good, and the stuff's going to work. And with the squeeze funnel, I would definitely recommend this too if you're running an evergreen type of thing and you have the audience for it. Now, I would still prioritize a webinar over a squeeze funnel because a squeeze funnel is going to be easier to run and maintain. Webinar funnel is obviously going to take more time. It's also going to be more profitable though. So if you do actually have the time and you do have the resources, do a webinar funnel. And if you don't want to deal with all of that, do a squeeze funnel. That's pretty much your second best option onto the webinar funnel if you have a large audience. And video sales letter funnel, like I said before, is going to work also good if you have a less larger audience. The reason why you can't run a squeeze funnel as well with a small audience is because you're going to need at least 30 to 40 people opting into your funnel every single day to have enough people for you to be able to pay a dialer and for it to financially make sense. And with a video sales letter funnel, you don't need a dialer, you don't need any external things, so you can just run it with however big your audience is. Even with 10 followers, you can start running a video sales letter funnel. Now, the next funnel, which I want to be breaking down, is called the micro niched YouTube funnel. Now, the micro niche YouTube funnel is exactly what I do with this YouTube channel. I've actually been able to make close to $400,000 in profit with this YouTube channel that has 4,000 subscribers. And it's insane, but it doesn't scale. That's the biggest thing about it. So let me break it down for you guys. So essentially what you're doing is you're posting YouTube videos, and these YouTube videos are specifically to attract a super niched audience. You're going super specific with your eyeballs. For example, instead of just doing a dropshipping offer where you're posting vlogs and you're posting your lifestyle and they click on your page and whatever and they try and buy your product, instead of that, we're going super specific. So if it was a dropshipping offer, okay, how do we go even more specific? One of the offers that we did help implement the micro niche funnel, he was doing dropshipping. We're like, okay, you need to niche down. We did specifically supplement dropshipping. So instead of the normal dropshipping that most people do, we did supplement dropshipping. Nobody else at the time was doing supplement dropshipping. He went from $500 a month selling a dropshipping offer to in the first 30 days, we optimized the content, the ecosystem, everything like that. And we did $55,000 cash collected within the first 30 days because we had 3 people pay us $10,000 up front because we were the only people doing it inside of that market. And you can't do that anywhere else, pretty much, right? So we niche down, we go super specific with who we're targeting. And because we're so specific, we don't really have that much more competition. Leads are so warm, so nurtured, they're ready to buy. They don't even need a sales call. So we go straight to calendar, no video sales letter, no bullshit. They book in a call, we jump on the sales call, usually 20 to 30 minutes. They don't really have any objections. because the YouTube content is literally just like screen recording videos just like this, going over things, breaking down concepts. They know that we know what we're talking about. And from that sales call, we can sell them much more expensive offers, and they're easier to get money from. They PIF, which is they pay in full. Everything's pretty much easier. However, you can't really scale this to 2, 3, 400K per month. However, if you're just starting out in info, it's a pretty easy way to go from 0 to, let's say, 30 to 50K per month. Or if you already have, let's say, an Instagram page or something like that, you're already making 50 to 100K per month, and you want something to complement it, this works extremely well. This is extremely scalable. From 0 to 100K per month, you can very easily get a micro niched YouTube funnel to 100K per month. Hard to scale beyond that, but it's the easiest route to get to 100K per month. So with that being said, if you are a beginner, you're just starting out, or you're making less than 30K per month inside of your info business, this I would pretty much put 100K per month easy, or at least it's your easiest route to 100K per month because you're so specific with the content. You're competing with a lot less people, and that makes it a lot easier to actually scale real fast. Now, the next funnel, which we're going to be breaking down, is going to be called the launch funnel. And the launch funnel is different to a lot of different funnels because it's a lot more preparation. Again, it's like the webinar funnel. It's like the challenge funnel I was telling you guys about before. Essentially, what you're going to have to do with the launch funnel is have a big audience. That's going to be the first thing. So I don't recommend running this offer or this funnel unless you have at least 50,000 audience. Unless you have 50,000 followers, don't run this funnel. But if you do have more than 50,000 followers, this is arguably the best way for you to actually launch your funnel, right? And this is popularized by Q Banks. You know, he's a very big guy who did this. I believe they did 1.8 million in the first month of actually running this. And that's cash collected too, which is pretty crazy. And obviously 80% profit margins, you know how info is. So essentially what we're doing with the launch funnel is we're using every single traffic source which we have. And at the end of it, we're either going to a video sales letter, a webinar, or pretty much just like video sales letter or webinar, right? So we're pushing for 2 to 3 weeks, we're pushing YouTube, where we're building a bunch of videos that are just slowly building up hype. We're building lots of content assets, and we're pretty much answering all of the questions which beginners would have inside of that niche. And we're kind of giving them the wow of, wow, this is such a good opportunity. This is such a good business model, but we're not giving them the how. We're not telling them how to actually execute on these things on a high level. We're just telling them how cool it is, everything like that, just like most of these funnels. Let's say, for example, this video right here, like I'm showing you all of these funnels. You're like, wow, this is great. You kind of know how to implement on it. But if you actually want to implement one of these, if you actually want to get started with one of these, I'm not building it out live for you, right? This is a great example for the wow, but not how. And if you want to implement them, you can obviously book a call with me first thing in the description, right? But this is how it works for all of these people. They, in the content, they're like, wow, dropshipping is such a good opportunity. SMMA is such a good opportunity, but they don't tell you how to actually get started with the opportunity, right? So this is a bunch of content assets that we're doing following this exact content structure. And then at the end of it, once we actually launch, there's going to be a big power offer plus CTA, which is essentially just going to be your video sales letter video, which is going to be posted onto your YouTube channel for a short period of time, but it's going to have a little bit less friction than a normal video sales letter because obviously it's going onto YouTube where people are actually trying to get some value, right? Then on Instagram for 2 to 3 weeks, I just have the first 7 days here, but we're posting a bunch of stories leading up to this launch. We're posting different polls, we're asking them different questions, and we're essentially just building hype every single day, posting tons of stories with polls, with questionnaires, stuff like that. And every few days, let's say after, like, first we're going to build hype for 7 days. And then after 7 days, we're going to have our launch day. And on this launch day, we're not launching, we're not instantly selling them the product, but we're getting them to opt in onto this funnel right here. And same thing for here. Once we actually do launch, opting in here in 7 days, right? And then inside of here, for the next 7 days, we're going to build hype for the product that we're launching for 7 more days, whilst we continue to build hype on Instagram and we continue to build hype on YouTube. So for 7 days, we're just hyping up this new product. And then we're like, guys, join the waitlist. And then 7 days go by, they join the waitlist. And then for another 1 to 2 weeks, we're just building hype throughout the emails, whilst we still complement that while building hype through Instagram and YouTube. And then at the end of it, it's either going to be a webinar where at the end of the countdown, it's going to be a webinar. They jump on the webinar and they essentially get closed on the webinar. Or once a specific release date comes out, everybody gets an email, everybody gets a notification where the website is live. It's going to be a normal video sales letter website where they can essentially book a call and get closed onto the offer. So if you do have a big audience, I would definitely recommend the launch funnel, just because the launch funnel complements the video sales letter funnel, right? Like with the launch funnel, let's say, for example, for the video sales letter funnel, it's just an extra 2 to 3 weeks of hype of people waiting for this video sales letter funnel to be open. Or if we're doing a launch funnel to webinar funnel, then it's essentially just going to be a webinar funnel that took 2 to 3 weeks of hype of people waiting for the webinar to actually come out using the launch funnel, which essentially just builds a lot of hype before the launch, right? The next funnel is going to be the ATM funnel / ascension funnel, which you're usually going to see with super large creators, millions of followers, guys like Alex Hormozi, and they're going to be run through their organic socials, which usually just get millions and millions of views. So they need to find a way to actually, how do we kind of call it? Like, they need to find a way to qualify all of these eyeballs that they're getting, because obviously if you're getting millions of views, there's going to be a lot of unqualified people. And also, if you're running ads and you're spending hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars per month onto ads, you also want to run something similar to this. So this is the type of funnel that usually gets profitable at that scale, right? Now, before we actually get into this funnel, one thing that I wanted to let you guys know real quick is, obviously you're watching this video, it's all great, you're learning about these sales funnels, but if you actually want help implementing one of these sales funnels, or you try and implement one of these sales funnels yourself and you want some feedback on my side, the first link in the description, you can book a call with me, one-on-one, not some kind of closure. It's not going to be some kind of Wolf of Wall Street high ticket sales call. And we're essentially just going to go through your sales funnel, go through your content, and I'm going to give you a little bit of help when it comes to scaling your coaching offer. And if I think that it is a good fit for us to work with each other one-on-one to scale to 50 to 100K per month, I'll obviously show you what kind of solutions that we offer. But back to the video. So the ATM funnel is going to be simple. We're starting with an opt-in, which we'd already spoken about inside of this video, same flow that we are actually copying right here. And then from the opt-in, obviously same stuff that happened here. And then we're going to try and sell them onto a low ticket funnel. And this low ticket funnel is going to be between $7 and $97, with obviously $7 being less friction and $97 being more friction. The more expensive it is, the more friction that you're going to add. So for example, for $7 product, you might get 100 people in. And then if you were selling the same thing for $97, let's say you'd only get 30 people in. Let's say, just as like an example, right? It really depends on your audience. Let's say you get 100 people in and you get 30 people in for $97. From these 100 people, let's say the goal of the low ticket is going to be to send people to the mid ticket, which is, let's say, between $500 and $1,000. Out of these 100 people, just random number, let's say 20% of them would ascend into the high ticket and actually buy the product for $500 to $1,000. But out of these 30 people, let's say 50% of them would ascend to the high ticket product. And so we have a major difference in terms of conversion rate, but then also depending on your audience, sometimes it wouldn't work at all to sell a $97 product. So if your audience is more warm, somebody like Alex Hormozi, where he's selling to business owners, they have money, definitely go with a $97 product. And then if you're selling like some kind of Imangaji SMMA course, you definitely want to go with something that's like $7. Then there's obviously going to be the mid-ticket funnel. The mid-ticket is essentially just going to be a course which builds the gap to the high-ticket product. You're going to, let's say, for example, let's say it's a dropshipping store, just an example. The mid-ticket product is going to tell them exactly how they can build their store, make it look pretty, optimize the conversion rates, do all of these fancy things. But then it's going to become the question of, okay, I have the store, I know what I need to do, but I don't know how I can necessarily scale the store. How do I run the ads? How do I actually sell it? And that's where the high ticket product comes in. At the end of this course, you're going to be like, by the way, guys, if you actually want help scaling these ads and getting the store in front of eyeballs, or like whatever gap it would be that they would be missing, whatever the most important part of this entire process is, that's the part that you sell in your high ticket product between $4,000 and $6,000. And for that, they book in a call with your closer or you. And then on that call, they get closed for the higher ticket product. Now, this funnel works pretty well. However, it is going to take a lot of setup. it kind of depends on your niche. It's kind of hit or miss. You need a lot of infrastructure to make this work. So what I would say is I would put it between worth a try and also don't expect a lot, kind of in between those two people. Not two people, two different categories. And the last funnel, probably the one that I'm most excited about, is the community funnel, because I've been seeing this work more and more, especially in 2025. And I think this is a very interesting idea. So essentially, what you're doing is you're taking traffic from Instagram, from YouTube, from TikTok, and from X/Twitter. And all of this is being pushed onto a landing page. And this landing page isn't selling them anything at all. All it's telling them is to actually get their free community. And inside of this free community, they're getting tons of stuff for free, right? They're getting different video courses for free. They're getting different categories of different resources for free. And they're also getting video chats for free. But throughout all of these things, there is a mechanism in between to try and actually upsell them, right? So with the video courses, they're going to be giving them the most basic advice on how to start. And then from the video courses, at the end of the video course, they're going to be like, by the way, if you actually want help implementing XYZ, they're going to show them things out of the high ticket product. Obviously, the audience that just watched the most basic stuff thought that was good. And now they see the high ticket stuff and they're like, wow, this is amazing. And then obviously the course creator is going to pitch them on it, be like, guys, if you want help implementing this, if you want to join the higher ticket community, book in a call. Let's say BC, it's going to stand for book a call. They're going to jump on the call, get upsold. Throughout the community section, they're going to have the wins channel from the high ticket community, which the free people are going to see for free. And every single day when wins get posted from the high ticket members, they're going to see the wins and they're going to be like, wow, like I want to get those same wins too. And they're going to know exactly where they need to go if they want to join that high ticket, which is obviously booking the call. And then also, the person who creates the group is sometimes going to be active inside of the community. And then he's going to, obviously push people from time to time to actually book a call. And then from the free resources, obviously modules going over the free resources, but they're going to just give them basic resources and then tell them, guys, if you want the serious stuff, if you want the actual SOPs that are going to actually scale you, book in a call. And on this call, they're going to have the closer qualifying the person, going through the sales process, and actually eventually selling them on the coaching offer. Not very hard concepts to understand. I would say most of these funnels are pretty simple. However, this is exactly what it requires. These are the systems that are required to scale your info coaching business in 2025. Now, guys, like I said before, if you have any questions about any part of this process, about any part of the implementation, the softwares that I use, the SOPs that I have, just DM me on Instagram. I'll get back to you. I'll help you out. And if you want help implementing these systems, these funnels, book a call with me. First link in the description, and I'll get on a one-on-one call with you. Obviously, like I said before, no Wolf of Wall Street type of pitch, simple stuff. If it doesn't work out, if there's no solution that I can actually offer you, I promise that I'll leave you better than I got you started. That's everything from this video, and that's everything from me. Have a good one, guys. Bye.